Hello everyone and welcome to another wonderful game from the Sharjah Masters 2025. It is round 3 and yes, we are featuring Nikolas again. We featured him with his game from round 2, which was absolutely amazing. And now he faces Turkish Grandmaster Vahap Sanal. So not going to spoil anything. Let's dive straight into it and see what is what. Again, we have the Coolie system being featured, and as I understand it, is not the Cole system or the Cole system. It is the Coolie system. So okay, I could pronounce it that way too. Doesn't, I don't mind. Pawn to d4, we have knight to f6, knight to f3, we have pawn to d5 and pawn to e3. So the Coolie system, but after e6 we don't continue in the way of the Coolie, but rather pawn to c4, transposing into the Queen's Gambit declined. We have bishop to e7 and now pawn to b3. It's a setup that was well used a lot by, let's say, former world champion Anatoly Karpov, amongst others, with great results. We have castles kingside. Bishop to b2, we have pawn to c5 and knight b to d2. Knight to c6 and now bishop to e2, followed by d captures on c4. Now there are some other moves that have been played here. D captures on c4 has never been played, and it is now as of move 8 that we have a completely new game. So okay, b captures on c4, we have pawn to b6, Nikolas prepares to fianchetto his light square bishop as well. We have castles and bishop to b7. And now if you look at this position, you can't really be unhappy with either color, but you feel that maybe black got a little bit more out of the opening than black usually does, especially if you look at the light square bishop. The light square bishop is a monster. Dark square bishop also not that bad, probably will come to this diagonal at some point. The bishop on e2, not all that spectacular, and the bishop on b2, of course, will come alive at some point. Maybe white has some options of executing d5 sometimes in the future, maybe create a pass pawn. So, there's a little bit for everyone. We have knight to b3 and c captures on d4. We have e captures, again, allowing just for the possibility of a d5 pass pawn to be created. Queen to c7, developing the queen, connecting rooks, and pawn to a3, cutting off the knight from having access to b4. We have rook 8 to d8, nicely aligning the rook with the white queen, and of course queen to c2. We have bishop to d6. Now Nikolas's bishops are almost fully operational once the knight leaves the c6 square. Rook f to d1, and now knight to e7, fully activating the bishop pair. And now we definitely have to agree that Nikolas's bishop pair, it is better than Vahap's bishop pair. We have pawn to g3, saying, all right, that is a very, very strong bishop pair. I will have to weaken my king's position a little bit to counter it. Knight to f5, and now rook 8 to c1. And this is where something very, very interesting happens. The knight coming to g4 will put a lot of pressure, immense pressure on white's position. But Nikolas plays knight to e4 with a bit of a different idea, but that is very, very difficult to actually counter. Now, even if I give you, as much time as you wanted, you would not find a viable plan here for white, because it just doesn't exist. It doesn't matter what white plays, black will just advance the pawn, trade off the pawn, open up the h-file, weaken the g3 pawn, and then probably sacrifice on g3 and win the game easily. So if you listen to what the engine says, okay, you should play rook d3, bishop to f1, queen to e2, some very, very passive moves, and maybe you'll survive. So, okay, if you can play like that, maybe you hold this position. But in a practical game, even with a grandmaster wielding the white pieces, chances are you will not. So here, pawn to c5 was played, and now the position is completely winning for Nikolas if you find the correct idea. So have at it. While I give you a couple of seconds, pause the video and find the winning idea for Nikolas. The move in question is not knight captures on g3, but it is in fact knight captures on f2. While knight captures on g3 certainly is an interesting move, after you capture once, and let's say bishop captures on g3, you don't have to capture the bishop. You can play c6 and now, you know, it just doesn't work. Regardless of what you do, you probably have to go back with the bishop. And once the bishop moves, you know, you just bring the queen into the game, something like queen to e4. And this bishop is looking silly. Black sacrificed for no apparent reason. And okay, well, you can maybe capture here. Let's say knight captures and queen to g3 with check. After queen to g2, there is nothing there. So it's you can even pick up the knight here, and you're not going to be down too much material. But you haven't achieved your goal. The real move is knight captures on f2. And this is basically resigns time. You know, we can even give this a double exclamation mark because, well, it was... c5 was played after some 15 or 16 minutes of thinking, so, you know, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing where, you know, c5 was just blitzed out and then knight captures and f2 wins. No, it was just very, very difficult to practically solve the position for white, and that's why, you know, c5 was played, knight captures on f2, and that is pretty much it. So what can you do here? You can capture the knight, or you can maybe play something else. So let's see what happens if you capture this knight. Capture the knight, then bishop captures and g3 comes with check, and if you play captures, then queen captures, king to f1 only move, and now knight to e3 is checkmate, ends the game on the spot. And if after bishop captures and g3 you don't capture the bishop, you could also, let's say, move the king to g2. Doesn't matter, now you play a bishop captures on h2. Now the knight is pinned from the light square bishop on b7. Now queen g3 is coming. And if you play king to h1, let's say queen to g3, again the threat is bishop captures. c6, okay, you block the bishop, but now knight to e3, and you have to choose. Do you prefer your queen or the game? So you resign here. There's nothing that can be done. So after this knight captures an f2 move, c captures and d6 was played, which is, well, much better than capturing the knight, but also completely lost for white due to the knight on f5. The knight on f5 is the real star of the show. And now after queen captures on c2, rook captures and knight captures on d1, bishop captures on d1, here comes knight to e3, and he was in this position on move 21 that Vahap Sanal resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So there you have it, another beautiful miniature by Nikolas. He just, you know, he's a master of miniatures. No idea how he does it. He just, you know, has the nose for these things, and you know, he just makes quick work of strong grandmasters all around. You know, we've seen him play against the incredibly strong players like Caruana, like Rajabov. Yeah, I've also mentioned in the previous video, if you haven't seen him play those games, I will put a link to them in the description below. Do check it out. You know, Greece is doing very well with strong grandmasters like Nikolas, playing beautiful chess like this. Also, there's Stavroula. I mean, she sacrifices the queen pretty much every game she plays. So yes, Greece is doing very well, I would say, chess-wise. And the reason you resign here is that, well, what do you do? Let's say you go after the bishop, let's say knight captures on d1, rook captures on b7, knight captures on b2, and you even save your passed pawn. And it looks like, okay, rook and two knights versus two rooks and the knight. Maybe I can pull something off here because maybe the rooks will not be activated, but the rooks will be activated. It's not really that big of a deal. For example, knight c5, and this is even just playing super strong moves that the engine recommends with white. You can even give up a knight here, create another passed pawn, which again looks incredibly dangerous, but let's say knight d3, pawn to c6, knight c5, and after rook captures on a7, you can just give back a little bit of material. For example, captures, and after c captures, pawn to e5, and you don't care. Next, you're going to capture the pawn, you stop knight d4, and then you just win easily. You're going to win this pawn, you're going to be up the exchange, and you're going to be up a pawn, so, of course, completely winning. But there's no need to force a grandmaster to go through all of that. Of course, he knows he's going to win, and, you know, there's no reason to play this, and, you know, who would want to? So, there we have it, beautifully played by Nikolas, winning another game. We'll see what he does tomorrow in round 40. Again, he gets the white pieces. Can he continue playing like this? Can he win a tournament exclusively with miniatures? We'll see. But, you know, I'm definitely a fan. I hope you guys are becoming one as well. So, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Random Pawn, Douglas van Bandhuisen, Samuel Kamuli, Nidhi Kumar, and Marcus Shib for their contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. continuing to check upon your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. And I know I promised you a tournament, you know, to see what's what and who will defeat who. I'm working on it. We'll create one, you know, in due time. See you soon.